with the NBA Finals coming up, we're going to be seeing the Dallas Mavericks face off against the Boston Celtics. If you didn't know, the Celtics hate Kyrie, who's on the Mavericks. So let's talk about the history of Kyrie Irving versus the Celtics. Now, for those who don't know, Kyrie was traded to the Celtics in 2017 after getting the chip with Bron. He was traded to Boston for Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, and I'm going to butcher this name, Ante Zizic, and 2 draft picks. Now keep in mind, this was the same season that Jason Tatum was drafted 3rd overall by the Boston Celtics. So this team consisted of not only Kyrie Irving, but Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier, Al Horford, Gordon Hayward, and Marcus Smart. Listed in no particular order of skill, of course. So safe to say, this is a pretty stacked team. The regular season was looking great for the Celtics. March 8th rolled around, and the Celtics had a record of 46 wins and 20 losses. The Celtics were gearing up for the final stretch of the regular season, 3 days until the next game, so they had some downtime and some rest to recuperate. It was time to show the world this team full of stars, until it came to game time on March 11th, 2018. Game 67, Celtics versus the Pacers. This would be the final game that Kyrie played for the whole season. A loss to the Pacers. Kyrie needed knee surgery, and it was announced to everyone that he was going to be out for the season. Now, to give context to this seemingly out-of-nowhere knee surgery, it came from the 2015 NBA Finals. In this specific series, Kyrie suffered a patellar fracture. Because of this, he had a tension wire and multiple screws in his knee. It was discovered that there was a bacterial infection because of all this hardware inside of his knee. The surgery would be opening his knee up and taking the screws out. Now, to make up for this loss, the Celtics would go to sign a new guard, Jonathan Gibson. After losing Kyrie, the Celtics went on to win 9 out of their remaining 15 games. 46 wins and 20 losses led the Celtics to achieving the 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference. 4 wins short of tying the Raptors for the 1st seed. They would be the 3rd ranked team overall based on record. Now came time for the playoffs. Despite not having Kyrie on the team anymore because of injury, the Celtics still had a shot. The first round for the Celtics ended up being against Giannis and the Bucks. Game 1 goes to the Celtics, they win by 6. Game 2 goes to the Celtics again, they won by 14. The Bucks then turn things around and destroy the Celtics in Game 3. The Bucks win by 24. They come out and do it again. Game 4 is won by the Bucks by a margin of 2. The Celtics punch back and win Game 5 by 5. The Bucks are in a win-or-go-home situation. What do? They win by 11. Game 7 comes and the Celtics decide to lock in. They take Game 7 by 16 and advance to the 2nd round of the playoffs. Now, while the Celtics were defeating the Bucks, the 76ers were facing off against the Miami Heat and ended up defeating them 4-1. This means that in the 2nd round, it was a face-off between the Celtics and the 76ers. Now, this series would be much less of a fight. The Celtics pretty easily won the series 4-1, and this means, of course, that the Celtics would be playing against LeBron and the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals. If Kyrie wasn't injured, he would be playing against his ex-teammate LeBron. Unfortunately, this wasn't the case, as we know. Game 1 of this series goes to the Celtics. Game 2 goes to the Celtics. It wasn't looking good for LeBron, who time and time again has made the finals. Game 3 rolls around, and that's when there's a momentum shift. The Cavs go on to win the next 2 games. Game 5 is then won by the Celtics, and then win or go home, the Cavs win. It's Game 7. After a very low-scoring game, the Cavs advanced to the finals. They won 87-79. After what a lot of people considered a success of a season with the given circumstances, the next year of basketball begins. Right before this, though, there's a season ticket holder event for Celtics fans. Now, during this event, Kyrie takes hold of the microphone, and after letting the crowd know that he wouldn't be able to sign an extension until the offseason of the upcoming season, he tells them, "If you guys will have me back, I plan on re-signing here." He tells an excited, cheering crowd. Not only did he tell everyone at this event, he doubled down in a later interview.
I have every intent to sign back. Now I don't have to answer any.
Keep in mind, this event took place just before the 2018-2019 NBA season began. Not even a year later, some cracks began to show. February 2019, Irving was not even considered the best player on his team. With a brand new shining star like Tatum that he was competing against, he was losing the spotlight. Anger and frustration was starting to build. I don't owe anybody shit. Ask me July 1st. His anger was starting to show. February 17th was the day that the All-Star game took place. Of course, Irving was selected as an All-Star, as you'd expect, but at some point during the game, Irving and KD were seen together in a hallway whispering. Now, what could they have been whispering about? We later found out that it was Irving essentially trying to convince KD to come play for Brooklyn because of the fact that the Nets had the ability to sign them both for Supermax contracts. So, after telling the Celtics fan base and the media that he would be re-signing with the Celtics, he was caught on video trying to convince another star to abandon ship and move franchises completely. Naturally, everyone who's involved with the Celtics at all hated hearing this about Kyrie. Kyrie was then later confronted about the free agency discussion, and it set him off. It's a video of me and one of my best friends talking, and then it turns out to be a desertion of a free agency meeting. Do you get that? Do you get that? And then I'm asked questions about that. That's what disconnects me from all this shit, he says. He denied the allegations of him trying to get KD to go to Brooklyn, but it was later confirmed about a year later by KD himself. After this pretty major bump in the road, Kyrie avoided any more controversy for a while. The Celtics finished the season with a record of 49 wins and 33 losses. This gave them the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. This put them against the Pacers in the first round, and it was a 4-0 sweep by the Celtics. Pretty non-sweat wins. So the Celtics advanced to the second round against the Bucks. It's a rematch of last year. Only this time, the Bucks very easily beat the Celtics, and there was no fight. The Bucks won 4-1, and the Celtics barely put up a fight at all. Kyrie, in particular, had a horrible series. He made 37 of the 104 shots that he took, a terrible percentage of 35.6%. He also seemed to not really care about his poor performance whatsoever. He was asked in a post-game interview after losing Game 4 about his very poor performance over the series, and he responded, "Yeah, who cares? Who cares?" Then he began to complain that the expectations for him are way too high, and so that no matter what he does, if they lose, he will be scrutinized. Now personally, I disagree with this take. I think he may have been scrutinized by the Celtics fan base, but that's mainly because of his poor attitude towards the organization. I think that if he had a good performance on a close loss, then no one would blame him. But 35.6% is not anywhere near a good performance. Anyways, as I said earlier, they go on to lose the series, and now the season is over for the Celtics. As was foreshadowed earlier, Kyrie ended up leaving the Celtics after saying he would re-sign. He left to join the Brooklyn Nets, as I hinted at earlier, and then KD went along to join him. Kyrie signed a 4-year deal for $141 million, while KD signed a 4-year deal for $164 million. As expected, there was a ton of backlash from the Celtics fan base, who were fuming at Kyrie's decision to leave. In the 2019 season, of the night of the first game that the Nets played the Celtics in their home, Kyrie was not present. This is because he was injured again, so he missed the game completely. The first real interaction between Kyrie and the Celtics fan base came in their second game. He was even met with chants of people screaming "Fuck Kyrie" and "Kyrie sucks." Even to this day, Celtics fans still do these chants towards him. During the 2020 season, COVID broke out, as we all know, and this led to a bubble year. In a preseason game in December 2020, there was a game between the Nets and the Celtics again. Before the game began, Kyrie was seen outside of the arena, burning sage to quote-unquote cleanse the energy from the arena. The Nets and the Celtics meet each other in the 2021 postseason. Playoff time. Tensions are at an all-time high. Tempers are raging. The Nets had a regular season with 48 wins and 24 losses, the second seed. The Celtics had a regular season with 36 wins and 36 losses, the 7th seed. What this means is that the first 2 games took place at the Nets' home arena. Games 3 to 4 were hosted by the Celtics, and the Celtics would be traveling to Boston to start this series off. That also meant that Kyrie would receive no hate from the home crowd. Game 1 was taken by the Nets. Game 2 was taken by the Nets. Celtics fans were infuriated to watch their team lose to their ex-star. Now comes Game 3. We're heading to Boston. Game 3 of the series happened with no notable events other than the chanting, but at this point, that's to be expected. The Celtics win this game by 6 points and the crowd goes wild. Then we go to the next game, Game 4. This was a very eventful day for the heated rivalry. A fan, Cole Buckley to be exact, was so heated over the way that this series of events had gone that he bought a plastic water bottle and allegedly threw it at Kyrie's head as Kyrie was walking off the court. Cole was promptly arrested by authorities and charged for assault, and it made headlines everywhere. This wasn't the only thing to make headlines on this either, though. The Nets defeated the Celtics in their own home court. Following this win, Kyrie goes to the mid-court logo and stomps his foot on Lucky the Leprechaun and scuffed his foot all over the logo. Every NBA news outlet was reporting on this. Then, Game 5 happened. This is where the Nets finish off the Celtics back in Brooklyn and the Nets advance. The Nets end up losing the next round against the Bucks in a 7-game series. The 2021-2022 season begins with the normal chanting Kyrie is expecting whenever the Nets play the Celtics. What really matters is the final stretch of the regular season and the playoffs. In an interview, Kyrie was asked how he felt about the constant chanting from the Celtic fanbase, and he compared them to a scorned girlfriend who just wants an explanation on why I left, but still is hoping for a text back. And I'm just like, it was fun while it lasted. The playoffs then begin. It's a complete reverse of the previous year. The Celtics are the 2 seed, and the Nets are the 7 seed. The first game begins in Boston. The Celtics win. And not just any win, a buzzer beater. Despite Irving dropping 39 points, the Nets fall in Game 1. Throughout this game, Kyrie was booed every single time he touched the ball, and he flipped off Celtics fans multiple times throughout the game. He later defended his actions in an interview by essentially saying that there was only so much that an athlete can handle from a crowd. And I do believe that he had a real and human defense here. So honestly, I don't really blame him whatsoever. The rest of the series is quite frankly disappointing. The Celtics win 4-0 and sweep the Nets. The Celtics end up making it to the NBA Finals, and they lose to the Golden State Warriors. Now, 2022 was not a great year for Kyrie fans. This is when he refused to get vaccinated for COVID, and he had to miss almost all of the Nets home games because of this. He then posted an anti-Semitic movie on Twitter, and then he failed to explicitly deny that he had no anti-Semitic beliefs, so he was in turn suspended. In February of 2023, Kyrie requested to be traded from the Nets. The Nets complied. They sent him to the Mavericks, which is where he is now. The rest is history. The Mavericks beat the Clippers 4-2 in round 1 of this year's playoffs. Then, they defeated the number 1 seeded Thunder 4-2. And then they faced off against the Timberwolves, who defeated the reigning champs, the Nuggets, and then the Mavericks beat the Timberwolves 4-1. The rivalry between the Celtics and Kyrie has been brewing for years. This upcoming series will be the biggest series between Kyrie and the Celtics since the rivalry started. All eyes will be on the fans of Boston and see how Kyrie can stay composed. Game 1 will take place in Boston, June 6, 2024. I'm personally very excited to see this series. I think it will be one of the more entertaining ones from the past couple years, and I also think that these two teams are pretty close in skill. What do you think? Can Kyrie, Doncic, and the Mavs beat the Celtics? Or will Tatum, Brown, and the Celtics come out with a trophy? Let me know what you think below, and thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. See you in the next one.